is the King of England still your king? Because I'm not overly too sure he's mine. And as a formal naval officer and an officer in Her Majesty's Royal Air Force, this is deeply disturbing for me. So what I'm going to do is talk to you about it whilst my wife buys shoes in that shop there, which she has already, but now she needs them in blue because she has them in red. Right. Yeah, apart from that, the disaster happening in my life, absolute drama, the King on Sunday allowed Muslims into our oldest castle, Windsor Castle. I don't think you saw this at all. This was Sunday. This is the day of the Sabbath. But during the holy month of Ramadan, why are we even talking about this in a Christian country? I have no idea. Muslims make up 7% at the moment. I have an issue with this. So he allowed them into our oldest castle, Windsor Castle, and they had their Iftar there. Iftar? Well, their final meal anyway. Of the day. They have a sohar in the morning, don't they, before 3 o'clock or something, and then in the evening, as their fasting day goes on for about 30 days, they had their meal there, and they had a call to prayer in our oldest castle. They must be pissing themselves laughing. The King is supposed to be the head of the Church of England. He's supposed to espouse the Christian values of this land. King Charles III. Now, I served under his mum, Queen Elizabeth II. Obviously, rest her soul. What an absolutely great woman. We loved her, didn't we? I don't think I do love Charles. This is a difficult thing for me as an Englishman. And I know a lot of you out there are going, this is a bit deeply confusing, isn't it? Hit the comments. That's what it's for, right? Look, how on earth are we allowing this? We are a Christian nation. Whether you like it or not, we are. From the Magna Carta, 1215, installing Christian values, through to Henry VIII separating the Church of England from Rome in 15 something ludicrous. I don't know. 1536, was it? I don't know. We're a Christian nation. We espouse Christian values of tolerance, acceptance, forgiveness, humility, honour. These things, but we're a Christian nation. We're not a Muslim nation. I sound like a right twat, don't I? But I don't want to be. I just want to be a Christian nation. If I wanted to be under a Muslim nation, I would go and live in a Muslim nation. I understand that. I've got loads of people living overseas in Muslim nations I haven't got an issue with. Do you think that, honestly, in Saudi Arabia, they'd allow Christians into their government, UAE, Qatar? You pick a country and you tell me. Because that's what we're doing here. In our country, we are acquiescing to Muslims, well, anyone really who's non-Christian. Now, I understand and I get it. Yes, multiculturalism hasn't worked. We know that. David Cameron said that back in 2013, 2014, something like that. Angela Merkel said that. Look what's happening in Germany. 90% of terror attacks in this country have come from Muslims. That is just a fact. The majority of people on the terror watch list are Muslims. But the King wants to welcome them into our oldest castle of the land. And I have an issue with this. Having a call to prayer? Come on. This is why I'm not a political man. I'm not a member of Conservatives, Labour, Reform, Homeland. No, I'm not doing anything about it. I don't care. The politics is not the answer. I think I'm working on what is the answer. I think I've almost got it. People always write to me, Tim, what is the answer then? I'm like, look, I don't know. I'm getting close to what it is. I don't think it's politics though. I think it's the crown. And this is a difficult thing for me to say. Now, I'm not inciting anything because I'm not an idiot. I would just say, obviously, sedition is not illegal now. We can talk about overthrowing government. We can talk about that. Not that I would do anything at all. And we're not a country that has a history of revolt since the Peasants' Revolution. It wasn't even the peasants really that revolted. It was the landowners, wasn't it? But look, I don't know much about this because I'm not a historian. We don't really have that history. And that's what makes this country so great, really. We don't have a history of overthrowing things. And if you overthrow a government, someone's going to come along and overthrow yours, etc., etc., etc. That's why we're not a bunch of dicks. But the King is an interesting one. Yeah. The King is an interesting one. We need to start focusing, I think, on the crown. What does it mean? Because there's going to be a change in this country, guys. It's going to come. And everyone thinks it's to do with governance. I don't think it is. I don't think it's to do with our government. I think it's to do with the crown. Now, I'm a monarchist, all right? Don't get me wrong. I've served in the Royal Navy and the Royal Air Force for 20 years. I've had the Queens, I've had the Wings, Queen Elizabeth II. So for me, I'm more than happy to serve under the Queen. Of course I was. This King, I'm a little bit worried about. His attachment to Islam seems a lot more than I don't think the Queen would have done this. That's all I'm saying. I think she would have just gone, that's nonsense. Don't even talk about it. We're fine as we are. But the King doesn't. He's a bit of a World Economic Forum kind of guy, isn't he? And, you know, net zero type guy is a bit weird. He shouldn't be political. That's my problem with the King. King should be neutral, mate. neutral. Here's the other thing. People leaving the country. I did this in the video, didn't I? I said, this is wrong. You shouldn't. Just stay and have the fight. Because personally, I want the fight, don't I? You know me. You know, we all want the fight. If you're an Englishman, you want the fight. You want a fight. This is the best fight ever. This is the biggest fight. Fight for England. Fight for your homeland. The blood of your ancestors, of course. However, I do understand people leaving, especially those with children. Now, I saw a guy earlier talking about the crime. He had his work van broken into, £3,000 worth of tools. No one's coming to help you with that, are they? No one's coming. The police probably won't even take a report. You have a car stolen. I saw a video about how cars are stolen, how the VIN, you know, the VIN numbers, they call them, get bought and then be put on new vehicles. They're stolen to order. No one's going to, just basically our insurance goes up, doesn't it? My insurance this year for my house, it went up 12.5%. That's not sustainable. In 1 year, not sustainable. 12.5%. I had my phone bill went up. My phone, like SIM only, went up by something like 6.4% in a year. What's going on? Not sustainable, is it? Something weird's happening. It's almost like they want to price us out. Us. Who is us? People that look like me. Men and women that look like me. Do you know what I mean? It's wrong. And I don't want to be that guy that incites anything, because I'm not inciting anything. The comments are there for us to discuss it. Don't be a dick, though, because your comment doesn't appear if you're a dick. It's not me doing it, guys. Your comment won't appear if you use foul language or anything like that, okay? Or keywords that YouTube doesn't like. So let's be realistic about this. You know, it's not on, is it? It's not on that we have a call to prayer in the oldest castle in the land. There's a line. There's a line that's being crossed. Many lines are being crossed, but that's a massive line. If you go onto Windsor Castle's website, I'll try and put it up here in front of you, you will see straight away there's a black man, a white woman, and 2 black kids. And it's always a black man and a white woman, isn't it? I'm not saying anything against that. I just noticed it. It's always a black man. It's never a black woman and a white man. It's always a black man and a black man and a white woman. Am I the only person that's noticed that, by the way? Maybe I am. And it upsets me up. My wife watched me, what's that Day of the Jackal thing the other day with Eddie Redmayne, who was superb. But the actress, the black lady in it, was totally miscast. It's almost like she was cast in it because she was black. It kind of ruined the whole thing. You needed someone like Claire Danes from Homeland, you know, a distraught character, but a great actress and someone that you can empathise with. I hated that woman. I wanted the Jackal to win. I'm not telling you what happened. Does anyone else feel that? It could have been a stunning drama. I don't even watch TV. I was forced to watch it. It could have been an absolute masterpiece. And it was ruined by this woman. It's almost like she'd been cast because she was black. I'm having a rant, and I don't want to. I don't want to talk about it. I just want our way of life back, pre-1997. I'm not saying it was perfect, but it was ours. And it was all right, and we were managing. You know what I mean? We're managing. I'm starting motorcycling this summer, and I'm worried because of the amount of uninsured drivers on the road, and also the amount of drivers who don't have a licence because they're foreign. And I'm now worried. It's a realistic thing. You know what I mean? I'm now not only having to watch out for everyone, I'm having to watch out for everyone on steroids. Do you know what I'm saying? Hit the comments. What we can do about the king. There's a lot more I want to talk to you about in this video, really, but I haven't got time. And mainly, I just wanted to bring that up, really. Just talking to you about, you know, what are we going to do about this? How are we still allowing these things? It's like an escalation, isn't it? Escalation. It's like Starmer going, yeah, we're going to put peace troops into Ukraine. Who, mate? Who are you putting into Ukraine? Because we're not going. No one's going. Because if you want us to... Peace troops always escalate into conflict. Look at Vietnam, look at South Korea, all that kind of stuff, all the Korean War. It always escalates that way. Now, if you've got that and it starts escalating, what are you fighting for? You've got to fight for something, and that's what Englishmen want. They want to fight for an England. I still have an England, all right? Because when I fight, it's about the ancestry in my land. But I've got to know that if I am fighting for England, and I do fight for England, I get to decide who's in power. And I'm not overly sure that it should be the king. Maybe default straight to William. You know, just pass it down. And also I want to know that I'm not under some globalist like Starmer. It's a disaster. It couldn't be worse. But I'm not a political man. I couldn't care less about the politics as such, because nothing's going to solve that, because we're under this. Even if you change the government, it's the civil service that's been infiltrated. You know that, I know that, all right? It's this sixth form, common room, global socialist, new world, Marxist order, whatever you add your buzzwords in there, guys, you know what I'm saying? But it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It is ridiculous. What are we going to do about it? Well, again, I'm working on a plan. What if, remember those millionaires that had left the country? These are people with like net worths of $1 million. So it could be people with big houses, that kind of stuff, as I said before. How many more of those need to leave before the government realises it's got a problem? Can't tax into oblivion. It's just going to tax the middle people like myself and yourself, isn't it? We're the guys that can't hide the money, so they're going to tax us. They can't tax people that aren't making any money. And you know, people that are coming into the country now, we know they're not net contributors. They're below that. They're net, basically they're dependents on the service. They're dependents on everything. It's not sustainable. So if it's not sustainable now, and people are getting their vans broken in for tools, cars are getting nicked, as I said, you know, things aren't being investigated, then why aren't people leaving? Maybe it takes people to leave before the government does anything. But what can the government do? It's almost like we're in a sinking ship, and it's known to be sinking. It's not managed decline. It's just unmanaged decline. There's no management of it. There's no money, it seems. It's just going south. I think Trump was right when he called out Europe on its inability to defend itself, because Europe, as a liberal democracy, favours the minority over the majority. So will always give housing to Somalian immigrants over the majority, because it has to by law. It has to favour the minority because of these liberal values that we're supposed to uphold. So, of course, Trump's like, well, guys, you know, we haven't got a welfare state. You guys have. Right, you're on your own. I'm like, right on. You should have done that a long time ago. But it means we've got to do something on NHS. The sacred NHS. Why are people that aren't born here using NHS anyway? Why can't we tax them? If you go to these other countries in Europe, you've got to pay like 30 grand or something. I made that figure up. I'm assuming it's something like that. You've got to pay that figure, like that's your insurance figure. We're not doing that here. People come in, I think they pay like 2 grand or something if they're lucky. And then they can use the NHS like I did. I paid more than 2 grand in there in my lifetime. I don't think I've used it once. Oh, I did. I broke my wrist snowboarding a long time ago. Which one was it? Something's got to be done. We're losing good people. That's the problem. Young people who should be staying in the country. I've always said, get them a house, get them a job, get them married. Then they will contribute towards the state. They're leaving. Rightly so. But these people, and they're a little bundle of future young people, a little bundle of kind of potential. And when it leaves, oh, I'm going to leave now. Out it goes. Yeah, that's gone. That potential's gone. It's gone to another country. And of course they're leaving. Why would they not be leaving? It's ridiculous. Oh, 13 minutes. All right, guys, hit the comments. I'm going to do some frigging yoga or some shit online. Calm the fuck down.